What's up, YouTube? Welcome back. 9mm ammo test series continued. Today we are on number 2. Today we have the Sig Elite Defense Personal Defense Ammunition V-Crown 9mm Luger, of course, 115 grain jacketed hollow point. I just want you to take a look at the hollow point really fast. It's actually pretty cool. There's a little star in the middle of it. The box says this one's traveling at 1185 feet per second, which translates to 359 foot-pounds. We will of course put that to the test, but from previous tests on Sig ammunition and personal experience, Sig usually doesn't joke around when they load their ammunition. They don't play games and shortchange you like some of the companies do with performance. I should note that this is brass case ammunition, and there is a notice on the box stating that basically due to supply chain issues with nickel, they're using brass for now, but you can expect the same performance. And that's probably not going on right now at the time of this video. I did buy this during the actual ammo shortage we had. The two firearms we're going to be using for testing today are going to be the Smith Wesson Shield Gen 1 9mm with a 3.1 inch barrel, and the Glock 17, everybody knows that one, that's got a 4.5 inch barrel. They are both iron sighted, and we will be doing accuracy testing on these B8 targets, 5 rounds through each pistol. We will also capture those on the chronograph to get an average of feet per second and foot-pounds. Then we're going to move the chronograph to right in front of the gel so that we can capture the velocity of the bullet that actually impacts the gel. And if you've watched any of our previous gel tests, you know that we usually use 20-inch shooter blocks, 10% clear ballistics. Today it's all the same except for there's 16-inch blocks. So we had a deal that I could actually get these things kind of cheap. So I bought 16-inch blocks. We're going to remelt them into 20-inch blocks for another project, for the rest of our projects actually. But for now they're going to be 16. So for a total of 32 inches of block instead of 40 like we usually have. Testing explained, let's get to shooting. All right, we got 5 loaded up for the shield. We are 15 feet off that chronograph, 20 feet off that target. Let's see how we do. That was right on the X. That's a promising start at 1183. $1161. $1171. $1139. And 1155. Let's take a look. That was a really good group. Camera guy is just going to go straight to it so that you believe it. So that's really nice. I believe these were the first 2 shots. That was my very first shot, and 2 down here. So totally acceptable. They're almost touching that 10 ring. This one is very acceptable, especially with a shorter barrel gun. The Shield is known to be extremely accurate. These 3-dot white sights really do the job. I've never had a problem with the accuracy with this pistol unless I'm doing something wrong. The ammunition is controllable out of this firearm, doesn't feel too bad, and just like Sig always, I mean, that's good quality. Let's see how it does out of the Glock. All right, that was nice. Let's see what the Glock does with a 4.5 inch barrel. And U-notch sights instead of 3-dot white sights. $1241. I touched the X-ring, but did not get on the X. That time we were in there at 1246. We were in there again, 1261. $1234. And 1216, I pulled that one a little top left. Let's go take a look. So first shot, the next few shots, and then the last shot. Again, very acceptable. I'd say we have roughly the same group, maybe just a tad bigger on this side, but I think it's pretty much the same group. Very nice. These are stock U-notch Glock sights, and I don't have a problem with U-notch sights. Some people do, they change them out right away, but for a stock Glock, that's pretty awesome. Stock trigger too. Nothing's changed on either one of these guns as far as triggers or sights. And I always try to explain this, but we do all of our accuracy testing offhand. We don't use a rest or a table or a bench or anything like that, because in a real world defensive situation, which is what we're testing with this ammo, you wouldn't have any of those luxuries. So this is honest, practical accuracy testing. All right, 15 feet off that gel block. The chronograph's just a little bit closer. Let's see what we get with the Shield. 1180. $11.80. There's where we smacked it. Good placement for getting another one in there. And there's our side picture. This is a brand new block, so it's a little bit, it has a wobbly effect to it when you have a brand new block, but it's at least clear enough where you can see everything in it. But there you go, you can see it opened up. Like I said, it's got that wobbly effect in the block. There's so much, let me just explain this. There's so much plastic around the block that by the time you hit it up with a heat gun, you don't have it perfect. You almost have to remelt them to get a perfect block. But you can see that track is a very nice uniform track. It's got a decent entrance wound there. It's got good permanent wound cavity. You guys are gonna have already seen it on the slow motion before I'm getting to this part, but it's very consistent. And it really did poke to the end of that block. I can see that there's a 16-inch penetration with a bounce back to about 15.5 inches. Very acceptable. It barely touched that second block. You can't really see it too good on camera probably, but it did poke in there like about 1 millimeter and then came back. Let's look from the top. So you're seeing pretty much the same thing. It just goes down, very nice uniform path all the way down. You see it opened up there. That's actually a very pretty opening of a hollow point. We'll get it dug out, you'll see it a lot better, but I know these things always look nice. Again, one good consistent path with an early disruption. For a 9mm 115 grain bullet going at that velocity, that's pretty darn good. All right, let's see what a little bit of increased barrel length does. The previous shot was 1180, and this one is going to be 1229, and I think we got awesome placement for comparison. $12.29. Like I said, good shot placement there for comparison. As we come around, we can see that we did have a little bit, in my opinion, just a hair more violence with that increased velocity. We do have the same piercing effect, and we basically came up just a hair shorter. So you can see it just didn't go quite to the end of that block. If I get it right there in between, I mean, it barely touched it. If it did, there might be about 1 millimeter of space in between, as where the one underneath it did actually do a pokey through just a hair. But again, they both have similar wound channels. They both have done their job out of both barrel lengths. That shield usually performs pretty well with just about any ammunition we put in it. But very nice wound channels here in the beginning, and it's totally doing its job. It's going to the end of that 16 inches, and that's pretty much where people want 9mm to be set at. Coming in from the top, we see the same thing, just a little bit closer to us. We do have one area right there where we have a little bit of that burning effect. Maybe there was some of that fiery effect in the gel, but we come back down to the piercing wound cavity and opened up nicely, facing almost the same direction. And you can, I still just can't get it perfectly, but trust me, it's just about 1 millimeter shorter of a penetration. Very nice. Very acceptable in my opinion. All right, we have recovered the rounds out of the shield and the Glock, the 115 grain. You can see that these things pedaled back pretty nice. They did the crown back that they're supposed to do. Very nice performance there out of both of them. They're gonna look beautiful. These things are made to look pretty. So awesome out of both of those. Well, there we go. We got some good data there for that SIG ammunition. Up next will be the 124 grain, then the 147 grain. I'm pretty sure that's what they are. But we're doing those tests right in a row, and then we'll make a video at the end of all 3 of them together. So this is going to be 4 videos in a row, pretty much, of this SIG ammunition. I don't think you're going to want to miss that. Overall, this ammunition seemed to perform great across the board. You saw a great temporary wound cavity on the slow motion. You saw great penetration. The bullet looks good after it comes out. We see that it has great accuracy on target. It's shootable. It performs the same out of the shorter barrel and the regular size Glock 17 barrel. I mean, I don't see anything that we can say wrong about this ammunition. We know the parameters of 9mm, and this falls right in there perfectly. I'm not paid by SIG, but when I see a good ammunition, I'll call it out. And like I said, I've never been disappointed by SIG ammunition before. Even their, like, let's just use the example of 10mm full metal jacket range ammunition. Nobody loads it properly. SIG loads it properly. You have like Underwood will go ahead and make range ammunition, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about a major company with factory full metal jacket ammunition. They always load their stuff up nice. Spear Lawman's another one, but SIG is definitely a good one. Let me know in the comments what you think about this ammunition. Hope you enjoy this kind of testing. Thank you for watching this video, and until we see you next time, stay safe, have fun, and keep shooting.